Part of the magic of what we do at Edgewise Media is that we start with one piece of content and we create a massive amount of other content from it. So today I'm going to walk you through the basics of how we think about content creation and how we think about content multiplication. So do you want to create more content without creating more work? Of course you do. We all want to do that. So let's walk through the basics of how to think about that. Number one, start with dense, high value content. This is by far the most important component. You have to have great content to start with, and it has to be dense content that has a lot of different pieces in it that you can then break up into other pieces of content for all of your other marketing channels. So, of course, at Edgewise, we prefer to start with a podcast first because a podcast is easy to record. It's easy to have a really interesting, great conversation with someone that's really knowledgeable in a specific subject. And so you can create high value content very quickly, and then you can take that content and break it up into smaller pieces of content down the road. But you can also use blog posts or videos for this as well. But start with dense, high value content. That is by far your most important step. Next, review that content and make notes. So go through it meticulously and look for themes and quotes and facts and stats and anything that you can call out or bring out of that content. Think about it as any one piece of information that you might talk to someone about, or you might be on the phone call and say, oh, I heard this really interesting thing on this podcast the other day that I want to share with you. Any tidbits like that, that's what you want to make notes of and call out. Next, identify the specific content that you can create from those things. So was there a specific segment or timestamp or quote that you think was pretty awesome, and what specific content can you then create from it? So should you create a pull quote from it, or a video clip from it, or a TikTok or a reel? Like, what is the content that you want to create from the content that you've just found in your dense, high value content? And then next, make a plan for how you're going to create it. So knowing that you want a pull quote based on this amazing quote in this podcast episode is great, but how are you going to do that? Who's going to create it? What's it going to look like? So make a plan for all of that. What should it look like? Who should create it? When should it be done? Where is it going to be posted? Who's it going to speak to? What's the audience that this is meant for? So think about all of those things and make a plan that you can then execute on and post. That's by far the most important component, because if we do all this and we don't execute, it's all for nothing. So make sure that you're taking the time to plan and execute. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you learned a little bit about how you can multiply content, and I'll be posting more in the future. If you want to connect with me, please connect on edgewise.media. You can check out some of our shows, even some of our case studies there. You can also find me on adamjwalker.com, my blog, or on our other company's website, togetherletters.com, if you want to stay connected with the important people in your life. Thanks for joining.